Hello, my name is Kurt Brown, also known as Saint Rambone. I have a website titled Mobile Audit Club. As you can see in that video, I had a FBI agent that was coming to my home. He called himself a Mobile, Alabama police officer. He's actually with the FBI. This has been an ongoing thing since 2001, since the current regime came to power. I was a federal bank examiner for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation in the United States. I reported money laundering and murder. Casino operators from Nevada were coming over to California, or at least that's what I observed, and they were sending people over to California who were getting bank charters through the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. A regional director had been killed in that office in San Francisco for the FDIC and labeled suicide around 1990. And his replacement, per my observation, was the head of a large syndicate that was, at least part of it was there at that FDIC in San Francisco. I now believe that money laundering is sanctioned and the current regime in power wants to keep it hid. I have been attacked many times since 2001, and I have been attacked in many ways. I was forcibly injected the first time in 2001 by a federal agent at the federal property at Los Angeles at Westwood. I was injected again against my will in 2004 at the Flagstaff Medical Center. I had reported hazmat spill, and I had a burn on my neck. There had been an explosion in West Texas not long before that, and I was just a little concerned. I was basically, I told them basically what I told you right now. They made me sit there at Flagstaff Medical Center for 5 hours. Then they took me into a back room. They told me they weren't going to let me leave. And about 8 people held me down and forcibly injected me as I screamed at the top of my lungs. They knocked me unconscious. When I awakened, they took me over to their psych unit. Now, this has been allowed since 2001. This is a Chapter 36 law. I call it the crazy clause. When George Bush came to power before 9/11, or the current regime, they allowed forced injections in Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico. I believe this is a way for the regime to keep their corruption covered up and to create terror upon those who would report their crimes. In 2004 though, or in 2001 when I was in 2004 when I was injected, they carried me over, they put me into a room. They put me in a room by myself with another man. I later came out that man was actually a true psych patient, I believe. However, one night I believe I may have been raped in that hospital. I believe I was injected. I was asleep whenever they injected me, and I believe I might have been raped there. They have extreme retaliation against me. I've been asking for compensation from Flagstaff Medical Center for what they did to me and what the federal government did to me. They ruined my career. They ruined my sanctity of mind. So it's hard to believe what they do to people. They might have just asked me some questions and things like that about what I knew, because let's face it, the crime syndicates don't want to talk about what they've done. About this man at my door here, I fear him very much, and I'll tell you why. They took my keys in 2004 at the Flagstaff Medical Center. I had all my locks changed. Had I not had a spare key, I couldn't have gotten my car out away from that medical center. They were punishing me for what I knew and what I spoke of. In this video here, which was in 2007, I had attempted to enter a Mobile, Alabama City Council meeting. Last time I entered, I had reported money laundering and murder, and I had reported an attempt on myself. That was at the Mobile, Alabama City Council meeting in 2001. The federal government had not responded to attempt on my life right after St. Valentine's Day in 2001. It was involving the FDIC in San Francisco and the National Treasury Employees Union and their affiliated money laundering syndicates. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, and the financial crimes are huge. When he came to my door, though, he did not have a warrant. That's Jack Bishop. He did not have a warrant. I spoke with an attorney, and he told me that they had no right. Actually, they had no right to even ask me to leave the lobby of filming at the Mobile, Alabama government. I do it because I have family here in the city, in the state, and I worry about them. The place is crack infested with crack, and the city is basically nothing. A lot of poor people are nothing. The wealthier sect do not care about the poor here. It's the same way it's always been. That's pretty much the same across the United States, even in Los Angeles. I fear him because he was trying to open my door before I had the camera on, I heard him wiggling my door. Once I walked away, he would not leave my porch. He kept trying to get me to come outside. You do not want to go outside with these people. Unless they have a warrant, you do not have to go outside. You can tell them to get out of your house and get off your property and walk away. The regime in power is no ally to our people, and we must start to view them as being separate from us. And I encourage you not to serve in their military. They did forced injections and forced experiments on veterans in Los Angeles in 1999. I was injected there and tortured in 2001. I fear this man, and because I am afraid they would try to harm me in one way or another. When I was arrested in 2001, I had four operable guns, and one inoperable gun. They only counted four, and went to court. And I started thinking about that. Were they going to take that last gun and harm someone and try to say that I'd harmed someone with it? The regime in power will do anything they can to shut us up, those criminal factions. After all, they're guilty of murder. In this video here, or actually just this month, on December 27th, December 28th, and December 29th, I was alone at my home. The federal government knows this because of phone conversations that they can record, and they have all my phone numbers. On December 28th and December 29th, I believe my home may have been broken into. What they do is I think they came in my back door. I believe this on December 29th in particular. I remembered something. I heard a door rattle that night, and I went back to sleep in my home by myself, no dogs in the home or anything. And the next day I woke up, I remembered someone being in the room. Now this could be post-traumatic stress and what happened in 2004. But I went to the restroom and I was sore around my anus, and I checked and I had blood. It was a lot more blood than I've ever had. I've never had that much blood on my anus. We all have, as you get older, you will develop hemorrhoids, and sometimes you will have blood, but not that much. I urge people that if they have information on high finance crimes, to get not only deadbolt locks and such, but I recommend you have chains or door stops to keep men like that FBI agent or any of their allies, or probably a little more that work under the cuff that aren't known. They'll come into your home and torture you, possibly rape you. And I believe they can also take your gun and blow your brains out with it and make it look like a suicide. That's what happened to the regional director at FDIC in San Francisco. Also, on the night that I awakened, this past December 29th, this is December 31st, 2007, on December 29th I awakened and I had a bump or something right behind my ear, and I thought maybe it could be a possible injection. It could just be a pimple, but all these coincidences add up. I'll show you here, if I can. I fear the federal government. I truly do. I'm asking for compensation. They've ruined my career. They would not rehire me as a bank examiner. Now I'm afraid of them. Would not want to work for them anyway. The federal government put me on something after they gave me a felony, which has since been dismissed, and I can now legally own guns. They gave me the felony. I could not find work. They put me on individual unemployability, they call it. I expect that'll be cut out, and I'll eventually just move back into, I don't know, I'm thinking of leaving the United States. I'm looking for another country that's not covered by the regime and their allies. I don't have any respect for them. I believe we have basically a regime, and I say a regime, they don't represent the American people or the West. I believe they will try to conquer not only Kuwait, but they've conquered Kuwait, they've conquered Iraq, and they've conquered Afghanistan. And Afghanistan, as you know, was a long-term target of Russia. We should stop the regime from trying to conquer any more nations. And I urge you, if you have children, to protect your children. Get yourself doorstops and that sort of thing, and do not trust the government, particularly if you have turned in large money crimes involving the crime syndicates that are under the National Treasury Employees Union. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. My mind is slipping a little bit here. But I know that they try to open banks. They try to get their own bank charters. Those casinos out of Nevada were when I was working as a bank examiner in California. Oh yes, yeah, that particular cop called my spouse, who I've been having bad relationship with for years, since it started, wanted to know if she had a gun, a .38 gun, or if I had a .38 caliber gun. I had bought her a .38 caliber gun long ago when I was traveling as a bank